From missed opportunities to unresolved rivalries, the world of mixed martial arts is full of rematches that never came to fruition. Among them, there are several matchups that fans were eagerly waiting for but never happened. Here's a look at some of these UFC rematches that were needed but didn't see the light of day, starting off with Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum. Back in April 2019, the two middleweight juggernauts went head-to-head in an epic showdown at UFC 236. The fight was an absolute barn burner, as both fighters left it all in the octagon. Both fighters traded blows, and the energy in the arena was electric. It was a back-and-forth battle that saw both fighters giving it their all. It was like watching two lions fighting for dominance, and it was clear that neither one was going to back down. In the end, it was Adesanya who emerged victorious, winning via unanimous decision. But it was a hard-fought victory, as Gastelum pushed him to the brink of defeat. Gastelum's striking skills and toughness were on full display, and he earned the respect of fans and fellow fighters alike. Since that night, Adesanya has gone on to become one of the most dominant champions in the UFC.
Oh! Knockdown for Adesanya! Costa trying to recover! That is it!
He's defended his belt multiple times and has shown that he's not to be messed with. Gastelum, on the other hand, has struggled to find his winning ways. He's had some tough losses, but he's still considered to be one of the top middleweight contenders in the division. Despite the hype surrounding a potential rematch, it hasn't come to fruition yet. It could be scheduling conflicts, injuries, or perhaps neither fighter is interested in facing the other just yet. Whatever the reason, fans are still hopeful that it will happen one day. But this isn't the only rematch we've been robbed of, as up next, there's Daniel Cormier versus Alexander Gustafsson. In 2015, the two fighters went head-to-head for the UFC light heavyweight title in what has been dubbed an instant classic. The highly anticipated bout saw Cormier walk away with a split decision win, but many fans felt Gustafsson had been robbed. Since then, both fighters have had their fair share of ups and downs. Cormier went on to become one of the most successful fighters in UFC history, winning titles in both the light heavyweight and heavyweight divisions. Meanwhile, Gustafsson suffered some setbacks, including losses to fighters like Anthony Smith and John Jones. Despite their respective paths, fans have been eagerly waiting for a rematch between the two fighters to settle the score once and for all. However, it seems like fate had other plans. In 2019, Gustafsson announced his retirement, leaving a potential rematch as one of the biggest missed opportunities in UFC history. And although trash talk wasn't a major part of their rivalry, their fight spoke volumes. The two fighters left it all in the octagon, and their respect for each other was evident even after the final bell rang. Speaking of leaving it all, some fighters have literally left everything in the octagon, such as Ronda Rousey versus Holly Holm. Holm, the former professional boxer, pulled off one of the most significant upsets in UFC history back in 2015. Picture this: Rousey, the undefeated queen of the women's bantamweight division, prepared to defend her title against a relatively unknown fighter with a solid boxing background. The stage was set, and the entire world was watching. What followed was a fight that left everyone in disbelief. Holly Holm, with her precise striking and exceptional footwork, danced around her opponent like a butterfly, making her look like an amateur. In the second round, Holm delivered a massive kick to Rousey's neck, sending her crashing to the mat.
She's hurt! Is in trouble! She's hurt! Holly looking to finish! Holly Holm is the new UFC bantamweight champion of the world! Oh my God!
The arena exploded in a frenzy, and jaws dropped worldwide. Fans couldn't believe what they had just witnessed, and a new bantamweight champion was born. Many thought Rousey would quickly bounce back and demand a rematch, but instead, she took a break from the sport to pursue other interests. When she returned, she faced fierce opponents like Amanda Nunes and lost her next two fights before retiring from the sport altogether. So, yeah, don't expect a rematch anytime soon. Another rematch to not look forward to is Robbie Lawler versus Carlos Condit. When these two warriors first stepped into the octagon, fans knew they were in for a treat. Lawler, the reigning champion, was looking to defend his belt for a second time, while Condit, the challenger, was hungry for glory. From the first bell, the two fighters held nothing back. Condit unleashed a barrage of Muay Thai combinations, while Lawler looked to counter with his signature power left. The action was fast and furious, with neither fighter willing to back down, and as the rounds ticked by, it was clear that this was going to be a close one. When the final bell rang, Lawler was declared the winner by split decision, but many fans believe that Condit deserved to get the nod. Regardless of the outcome, one thing was for sure, they'd put on an unforgettable show. These two legends of the sport were known for their explosive fighting styles, and they certainly didn't disappoint. In fact, you could put Lawler and Condit in the octagon 100 times in a row, and I'd still tune in to see what kind of madness they'd unleash. However, that has yet to happen even a second time. Moving on though, there's also Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. Back in the day, these two fighters had the entire world buzzing with excitement. The anticipation for their featherweight clash was tense, and fans couldn't wait to see who'd come out on top. The stage was set, and the two fighters finally faced off at UFC 194. But in the blink of an eye, the fight was over. McGregor landed a picture-perfect left hook that sent the reigning champion hurtling towards the canvas. 13 seconds was all it took for him to become the new featherweight champion.
Jose Aldo Jr. Conor relaxed and smiling. Oh! Just slapped him! There! Conor McGregor is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world!
And the world was left in awe. Given Aldo's former title run and the swift conclusion to the first fight, fans were eager for a rematch. But alas, the Irishman had other plans. He decided to abandon the featherweight division and move up to lightweight, much to the disappointment of fans worldwide. Plus, he also left to do that one boxing match against Floyd Mayweather for some reason. Though, still, a rematch never happened. The memory of that 13-second fight will forever be etched in the minds of us UFC fans. Finally, you can't talk about rematches that never happened without talking about Georges St. Pierre versus Johnny Hendricks. Traveling back to 2013, the legendary St. Pierre was set to defend his welterweight title against Johnny Hendricks at UFC 167. The fight was an absolute barn burner, with both fighters putting it all on the line. And once the dust had settled, St. Pierre was declared the winner, but the decision was highly controversial. Many fans believed that Hendricks had done enough to win the fight, and the result left a bitter taste in their mouths. St. Pierre then shocked the world by announcing that he was taking a break from MMA, vacating his title in the process. Fans were left wondering if they would ever see him in the octagon again. But in 2017, St. Pierre made his triumphant return to the UFC, moving up to middleweight to challenge Michael Bisping for the title. The fight was a massive success, and the fighter emerged victorious once again.
Declaring the winner by submission due to a rear naked choke, and undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world.
However, despite the success of his comeback, fans were left wondering what might have been had St. Pierre given Hendricks a rematch. Unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards, and the two fighters never faced off again. But hey, that's all for the UFC rematches that we were robbed of.